Hey folks, so I have a little story for you and then an update. So this morning, as I rolled out of bed and I'm surfing YouTube, because that's what we do, right? I came across this video that was about Sean Coombs, Puff Daddy, and rectifying his chart, right? Okay, well, let me take a look. Maybe I'll learn something. So I opened up the video. Now, this video this woman did was just put out 2 days ago. She's a little late to this party, but it was 2 days ago. The video I did, where we went through the whole rectification process for his chart, was 2 weeks ago. So keep that timeline in mind. Mine came out 2 weeks ago, and now suddenly 2 days ago, she's got a video about rectifying Sean Coombs' chart. Okay. But that doesn't mean that she was necessarily watching my video. It just means that she's late to the party, right? So I'm listening to the video and I am aghast, right? So it could be coincidence, but she's got the whole thing set up and the ascendant and the midhaven are like 1 degree off from my calculations, which, listen, if I had the right time and we've got the right ascendant, the rectified ascendant, like it should be there, right? Because all of the predictive work should support that. Because you can't listen when it comes to solar returns, lunar returns, perfections, like pick whatever it is you're doing in terms of doing a predictive forecast for somebody, you must have an accurate time of birth because all those charts are based on math. And with math, one decimal move, right? Move that decimal one place or change like one digit, you've got a whole different answer. Okay, so you have to have the correct time of birth to get correct predictions, right? Or things you'll get a lot of information, but none of it will pan out or be accurate or connect anything. So I thought that was a little suspect, but I'm like, okay, because I'm listening to what she's saying about how she's come to this conclusion that this is the ascendant and blah 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 blah. So I'm like, okay, well, maybe she really did rectify the chart, right? I mean, maybe I'm just being paranoid. So I'm listening. And I'm listening, and I'm listening, and holy crap, I have never heard such unbelievable horse hockey in my life. She's not even a good astrologer. So she spent a lot of time basing the rectification or justifying her rectification on his personality profile based on his natal chart because, Mars in Capricorn, ooh, always on top, ooh, this, that, he's clearly a criminal because Mars. I just... all his problems because Mars, the sex parties, the orgies, love Mars. And, while some of this is true, we talked about this and we know that Mars dominates his chart. And literally, he's very much about power, domination, and control. Now, the sex parties and the, freakily kind of private life, all that sort of weirdo stuff, Venus and Scorpio has a lot to do with this. And also Venus and Scorpio conjunct the fixed star Alphecca, right? It's not so simple as it's Mars. And here's the thing I want you guys to understand. When you listen to these hack astrologers, right, who literally just, I don't even know what the hell they're doing. The thing you got to remember is that if, as an astrologer, every time you open your mouth, when you make blanket absolute statements like this, especially damning ones, you're condemning every person who carries that placement. So now every person with Mars and Capricorn is being painted with the same ugly brush that she's painting Sean Coombs with because of his Mars placement, which is ridiculous. It's all combinations of things, right? Good Lord. If it were just Mars and Capricorn is always going to do this, we'd go out and line up everybody with Mars and Capricorn and put them in front of a firing squad to be safe. So there was that. And then there was a whole lot of overly flattering. So I'm kind of understanding now I don't have more subscribers. There's all this overly flattering, exaggerated attributes to different things, right? Mars and Capricorn being all powerful, always on top, blah, blah. It's all flattery, right? And some of it is true. Some of it's not, right? Some of it only applies if it's in combination with other things, right? Because Mars and Capricorn by itself does not guarantee this outcome like she's describing, right? Oh my God. It's like saying Mars and Capricorn is business sign. It will always be a business sign, right? And it's, the focus will always be business. There are lots of people with Mars and Capricorn that are not business people. They have no business acumen. They have no interest in business. It's not their thing. But Capricorn is the sign of management. It manages resources. This is why Capricorn is always about giving the labor things to do and plans and schedules as opposed to doing it themselves, right? So it's about managing and using resources is Capricorn, right? Which doesn't have to be business. You could be a trad wife at home with your 12 kids and have Mars in Capricorn and do exceptionally well at it, right? And believe you need some organizational skills and leadership skills to manage 12 kids. So I'm trying to get through the video. I'm really struggling with this because I literally, the more I'm listening, the less explanation she has for how she's come to this rectified time. Like literally, it's all BS, about his natal chart. She's telling stories about his childhood and what she thinks the relationship with his father was like and blah, blah, blah. Like literally, there's nothing here to support that she actually did the work to rectify this chart as opposed to cheated and copied somebody else's homework, right? And then just kind of fill in the gaps to make it sound like she did it. And now I'm getting furious because the thing to understand is this has happened before. There are a lot of YouTube astrologers. Like, it's literally a small pool of fish, and we're all floating around, kind of checking each other out, at one point or another. And I have heard my words, and I've seen my work come out of other people's mouths. And I'm a little teeny tiny channel on here because you see how many subscribers I have. So it's really easy to riff off my stuff and walk away with it and make it look like it's your own. Or say, oh, that's a great idea. Yes, of course. Why didn't I think of that? And then, spew it out like you came up with this, right? Like you had this understanding before now. After I've already put it on video and published it, but only, like a couple hundred people have seen it. So who's going to notice? I'm just I'm beside myself, and I'm so frustrated because you know what? On top of the fact that this looks really suspect, and I'm not saying she stole my material or she's riffed off of me and trying to pass it off her own, but it's kind of looking that way. I mean, because, my video went up for rectification with all the explanation about how we got there 2 weeks ago. And now 2 days ago, suddenly she's got a video up about rectification. And she's not even explaining how she got there. Like she's doing a whole lot of natal personality, like profiling and, like theorizing about what this relationship was like with the family, who they were, blah, blah, blah. But no actual, she's not showing her homework. So how did she come to this ascendant and blah, blah, blah. So there's that. And then I looked at her subscriber list, and this is why I'm taking some time off, because my head's going to explode, right? This woman has 105,000 subscribers. 105,000 subscribers. And she's not a good astrologer, as far as I'm concerned. She's not a good astrologer. She's just feeding people flattering stuff that sounds good and telling stories. Because I'm not impressed. But her, like a whole bunch of other people who have just nothing, just noise coming out of their mouth, just pablum. I can tell by what they're saying and how they're describing things, how they can arrive to conclusions. They're better astrologers than somebody who's never done astrology, but they're not good astrologers, not by a long shot, right? They're just really good at being presenters, being storytellers, telling people what they want to hear. Data dump, and the Mars is sesquiquadrate and half moon parallel to Venus on Tuesday at 2 p.m. while Jupiter. Okay, so this is literally all sour grapes for me. I'm so sorry. I'm venting and I'm sharing because I'm really frustrated and I'm hurt that I work this hard and this is what I'm seeing first thing in the morning. Now, especially with something that I worked so hard on and I'm so proud of. I'm so proud of my rectification of Sean Coombs's chart. So with that said, this is why I'm taking some time off. I need to go focus on things that are actually going to pay my bills and give me the respect, and the rewards that I need in life for the effort and the integrity that I put into my work. Because clearly around here, all you've got to do is show up, tell a good story, look the right way, right? Because some people do better than others, and they could literally spout horse hockey for hours, and people love it. I need to focus on things that make more sense, because I can't keep doing this at the level that I'm doing it at and having other people steal my stuff or appear to be stealing my stuff. Or have people who basically just paddle them and, hundreds and thousands of subscribers, and I'm struggling, with you guys, my little teeny tiny fan club. So here's what I'm going to leave you with. Now that I'm done. Now that I'm done that, here's what I'm going to leave you with. When you listen to astrologers, right, whether it's online or in person, here are the things you need to know. Because you may or may not know a lot of astrology, right? And I get that because I was there too. So the first thing is this, right? Everything in astrology is a combination of things. So when somebody gives you some nonsense about, oh, well, clearly, of course, you can't be faithful because you've got Venus in Scorpio. That's just like blow it at your hole. Like, that's ridiculous, right? Remember, distinguishing character from the astrology chart is extremely important, right? Because the astrology chart will not show you character. So there's that. The other thing is when anybody paints with a broad brush any particular planet in sign or planet in aspect, as an absolute, well, his Mars in Capricorn, of course he's in trouble for all these Mars things. Mars, rape, orgies, drugs, blah. Remember, there are millions of people on the planet who also share that position that aren't having those expressions. So if you're painting a big simpleton, moron, broad brush on a planet and its aspect or sign and saying this is absolutely what this means, and it's hugely negative or damning, this is not somebody you should be taking seriously. And I would probably walk away, right? Because for me, I would cuss him out. But, I've had these conversations with astrologers when I was growing up and as a teenager, listening to Suburban Housewives, look at my chart and say all sorts of damning, condemning things. I was 17. I was still in high school. I was a good girl. I didn't do anything, right? Because look at me, I'm surrounded by literally white people or black people. Anything I did, people could see and they remember me. I couldn't rob a bank if I wanted to. So I didn't do anything. And yet these suburban housewives, with all their newfound knowledge, right, do the same thing this woman's doing. It's like, well, that Mars and Pluto, and this horrible descriptions of who I was because of that aspect, right? Never mind that an entire generation of people shared those aspects. I'm from the Uranus-Pluto generation, right? So when you hear that, walk away. You're not doing that. Everybody knows literally what they're talking about. They're literally just inflaming things to make it sound good. The other thing is that they have to show their homework. So when you tell somebody, show me how you came to that conclusion, right? Especially when we're talking about rectifying times. Oh, you don't know how much work it is to rectify chart. This really burns my chaps right now. When you say to someone, can you show me your homework? Show me how you came to this conclusion that this is the ascendant. They had better have more than, what is it she was saying? Like Mars in the, something in the seventh house. Well, clearly this is his father and blah, blah, blah. He had very, such a relationship with his father and yada, yada, yada. And the mother was very well dressed and blah, blah, blah. And just going off on this tangent about everything except specific things. I want to see timing because this is what we need the ascendant for. And the midheaven, those 2 degrees on the top and the east side of the chart, those are timing placements. The ascendant is the point where you physically come into the earth. So your life clock begins at that moment, at that exact time. And that is how you map out the blueprint of events moving forward. So I want to see solar returns. Right? The hair, he's got to be Leo rising. No, stop it. I want to see the solar returns, the lunar returns, the progressions, the something. I want to see something that's mathematically based on that time of birth and show me how you came to that conclusion. I don't want to hear a bunch of about the person's personality and what we think their relationships were like with other people, yada, yada, yada. So if you're interested, I will put the link below so you can see who I'm talking about. I'm not the least bit afraid to call her out on this because I'm a tiny channel. So she's not going to see it unless she's watching my channel. At which point, well, there you go. Point made, right? Case in point. But I will be taking some time out because this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Literally, if I looked any other way, and I've seen this, there's one astrologer who's a man, looks like, I hate to say it, but he looks like a homeless drunk, right? He's a derelict. He's a good guy. He's very good at his astrology, but in terms of appearances, like if you just saw him on the street, this is not somebody you would have a conversation with because he looks like a homeless guy who hasn't eaten 6 months. And he's been, a drinker all his life, right? He's got a hard appearance. So he's not pretty is what I'm saying, right? I've literally, the first time the man came on YouTube and started his channel, I distinctly remember him saying something that was literally almost parroting, and he didn't watch my channel, this is literally his opinion, but he said nearly the exact same thing I had just said 2 days before on my own channel, right? When I say it, I get crickets, right? This guy says it, now it's like his following explodes, and he's like, these people are coming, oh, you're a genius, and of course, and you're brilliant, and yada, 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 and this, like, they're applauding him for saying the exact same things I had said 2 days before on my own channel. Now, granted, maybe it's a different audience, but he has exploded. He's got hundreds and thousands of subscribers. In spite of the fact that he doesn't look like somebody I would probably have a conversation with on the street. Some of the other ones, big gas bags of hot air. They don't say anything. It's just big data dumps, right? Jupiter is quintile parallel upside whoozy watsy to Venus at 2 p.m. today. I probably shouldn't post this, but I'm gonna post it anyway because I'm so upset about this. I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm just not a good storyteller. The reality is, not everything's for everybody, and maybe YouTube's just not for me. Maybe I'm not the performer I need to be. Maybe I'm not as pretty, as other people need to be, or maybe I'm not as well, maybe I'm not enough of a man, because clearly men, no matter what they freaking look like or what they say, they get a free pass on everything. I've seen it over and over and over again. Like, the nonsense comes out of some of these guys' mouth and people are like, oh, yes, 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 like clapping seals, right? I've seen it in person too at some local astrology groups. It's just ridiculous. Does anybody listen? I don't understand. Like, is critical thinking dead? I don't know. Maybe it's just me being too harsh, and maybe I'm jealous. That could be it, but that doesn't change the fact that people are spewing pablum and getting hundreds of thousands of subscribers, and I'm working incredibly hard with a tremendous level of integrity in my work, because this is who I am and this is what I believe in when it comes to astrology, and I'm struggling. After 7 years, I'm still struggling. So, maybe it's me. I need to take some time off and kind of assess the situation and see what I want to do. So, pay attention, listen to what people are saying. All right, guys, hang in there. And if hopefully, we will. Harris and Walz are going to win. There's no way Trump's getting back in the office. But this is going to lead to all sorts of other issues. And here's the thing. The other thing I want to give you guys as a bonus, right? So whatever it is that we're dealing with after the elections and Trump loses, it's not nearly going to be as bad as the January 6th. When they the idiots tried to storm the castle. That ship has sailed and gone. They will never have that momentum again. So we will have some issues, but it will never be as bad as that, or worse. It will never get that far because there's not enough energy behind it. So, still be aware of your surroundings when you're dealing with it, but understand, don't panic. It's not, no matter what they want, how much they want to alarm you and threaten you, like, whoa, it's going to be so bad. It's not. It will never be like that again. Okay? So, big hugs and big hearts to you guys, and hopefully maybe I'll be feeling better. I'll see you in a couple months.